Hello and welcome to a more sober edition of Understanding Body Language, Lies, Cheats and Happy Feet. If you checked out one of my videos yesterday, I was particularly hungover from a heavy night on the Jaeger bombs. However, I'm fully recovered now. However, my dearly beloved is now ill because I did get her up at 6:30 with my drunken ramblings, so I must apologise for that. But I will look after you later on. But with that in mind, let's talk body language. I've been scouring the net today trying to find a good video for you to do. And I found a good one from yesterday. Now then, Formula One's quite big all around the world. It was the Singapore Grand Prix yesterday. I've got to say I don't follow Formula One. I used to in my younger years, but not so much anymore. But Felipe Massa, I think it is he's not too happy with Lewis Hamilton. Apparently, there's an altercation which I'm going to show you here throughout during the Grand Prix. So let's just start the video and let's just see what actually happened.
I'm looking a little bit upset.
So there you go. So he came from behind him and winged him a little bit. So I think it cost him a place in the race.
With Lewis.
So let's have a look at the interview and let's see if we can see anything from
Felipe, you came into the pen looking a little bit upset with Lewis. Just tell us your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts is that again, I told you yesterday that he cannot use his mind, even in qualifying. So can you imagine in the race? So again, what he did was not. He could have caused a big accident, So.
So the first thing I notice here is definitely his anger, and anger manifests itself by a few ways. It can often be flashed with the eyebrows going down and together and making an angry face, but obviously don't see that here. What we do see here from Felipe is widening of the eyes, and what we also notice is the eye glare. Watch when he's talking to the interviewer.
I told you yesterday that he cannot use his mind.
He doesn't blink.
Even in
And in that particular expression there, you see, we're seeing flashes of anger. So not necessarily with the eyebrows coming down because his eyebrows are raised. We're seeing it with the eye glare. So he's not breaking eye contact when he's talking about Lewis Hamilton.
I told you yesterday that he cannot use his mind, even in qualifying. So can you imagine in the race?
And that was great because look how he switched his head from a head shake no to a head nod.
Not use his mind,
There you
even
go.
in qualifying. So can you imagine in the race?
So he's looking for extra emphasis there, which is great.
Again,
Double shoulder shrug.
What he did was not. He could have caused a big accident,
And look at the big accident, and look how he alters his head down, like what a dog does sometimes. Animals use this particular expression, and watch how he lowers his head to one side when he says big accident.
He could have caused a big accident,
There you go.
So
he's trying to add it for more seriousness. So he's almost trying to believe. Imagine if you said something like, "Have you seen my pen?" And you say, "I've not seen it," and you'll nod the head forwards just like that. So he's very angry.
And he's paying for that. That's the problem, He doesn't understand even paying for a problem, So anyway, I mean.
He's struggling for words, and we can see with his anger, with his lack of blinking rate.
That I was in the middle, so.
When we're really angry, our eyes don't blink. It's a classic physiological response because we have a high blinking rate. We're not necessarily focusing on our prime target. Even though the target is not within sight, he's still talking about it. So it's still the same psychological and physiological response to anger.
I had a puncture in my tires, and I pay a lot. I was not even lucky on the safety car because I stopped. I put the super soft in that moment to gain, lap time. But then after 5 laps, 6 laps, the safety car came inside.
Okay, so we get pacifying. So we see two pacifying gestures in the sake of about 5 seconds there. The first one.
I had the wrong tires, not to finish the
race.
That's
the second one.
The safety car came inside, and I had the wrong tires.
Hang on a second.
Soft in that moment to gain, lap time. But then.
So that's called a pacifying gesture, and that's called an eye block. So he purposely doesn't want to talk about it, so he places his hands over his eyes and scratches the upper eyebrows. Which is quite interesting because he's making a lot of upper eyelid flashes, so his eyelids might be quite fatigued. So those muscles have been used quite heavily during the initial segment of this. We're seeing pre-fatigue muscles, and that's the first place he pacifies, which is there. So he eye blocks.
After 5 laps, 6 laps, the safety car came inside, and I had the wrong tires, not to finish.
So he has the wrong tires, and he makes a hand-to-face gesture toward the right-hand side here. So we can clearly see here.
6 laps, the safety car came inside, and I had the wrong tires.
Stress.
Not to finish the race, So.
It's not a sign of deception because obviously what he's talking about actually happened, but we can see it's causing him stress.
As well with the strategy, and also again something happened with a guy who did how many. how many times with me.
Now that was a great use of distancing language. Now I think these two drive for the same team. I'm not overly sure. Obviously his name's Lewis Hamilton, and he would obviously know
It
that.
happened with a guy who did how many times?
A guy. So he's not making it personal. He doesn't use his name. He uses a guy to create distance. So he wants nothing to do with
me
it.
this year so many times, you know.
And we can see the eye glare is back in by
So I
Felipe.
think, as I said, so it's important that FIA is looking and penalizing him.
And what is interesting here is when he gets back onto Lewis Hamilton, when he's not talking about his own performance, because obviously I think Lewis crashed into him. Look how he now starts bobbing about like a boxer.
You know, so
Look, he's still here.
As I said, so it's important that FIA is looking and penalizing him all the time. He's going in the car because he cannot think.
So he's bobbing about like a boxer, ducking and diving, which comes with aggression.
You've told us your views. Will you tell Lewis?
And he still is. And we see another pacifying gesture here. It only comes when he's talking about Lewis at the moment. We see that particular expression there of fatigue and frustration.
You've told us your views.
He's bobbing, he pacifies, just the hat.
But as well, he cannot.
And look, and he points in the direction of where he is. We've got timing and synchronization to where he's just come from.
But
there you go, just there.
As well, he cannot even listen. Maybe his father can imagine me.
So there you go. So a very frustrated Felipe Massa there. And this was the incident he was talking about before. Let's just make this big for you so you can see what he was talking about here. So that was the incident we was talking about before when I went to go and see him. And if you notice here what he says to him, he taps him on the shoulder, he pulls him round. So he says, good job. He rotates round and he shakes the head and he says, don't touch me. So very reminiscent of Cool Runnings. But there we go. So that was very interesting body language there from Felipe Massa. Obviously, he's showing his disgust and his anger for Lewis Hamilton just by that particular expression there. It's the tap and the walk away. He moves straight in. Good job. Thumbs up, gestural emblem, and they're off. So there is definitely a huge problem there between these two. So there we go. So that's these two covered on understanding body language. I don't know a lot about the Formula 1 team, but I do know body language when I see it, and I know that these two have got a big problem at the moment. They might have sorted it out. I mean, the amount of money these two on, they shouldn't have any problems in the world. But you can clearly see problems arising. So there you go. So remember what we said about anger? Doesn't necessarily need to flash on the face with the eyebrows, because they can be up and still be angry because we've got the eye glare. Don't forget, when we're truly angry, our eyes they constrict. Pupils don't dilate when we're necessarily angry. Our pupils dilate when we're fearful. But Felipe Massa shouldn't be feeling fearful, he'll be feeling angry, so the pupils constrict. Also with anger, blinking rate decreases, because obviously we want to focus more on our target that we're directing anger at. So if our eyes are blinking a lot, we might not necessarily what they're going to do next, whether they're going to run away, whether they're going to freeze or attack us. So it's a flight, fight and freeze response that we're after. So with that in mind, if you'd like to learn more about body language, please check out my page on Facebook. The link is at the bottom of this page. I'm trying to get to about 10,000 people on my page and 1 million views on YouTube. So if you can help me do that by sharing these videos, I'll be much obliged. Any questions, comments or feedbacks, please let me know. And I'll do my best to accommodate your requests. And also, while I'm on here, I do a lot of non-verbal communication, like paralinguistic communication and speech and intonations and voice and body movements. But what I'm doing now is I'm moving into actual verbal communication by doing something called specific content analysis. So I'm looking at actually the verbal statements now and starting to analyse them. Because what Felipe did there, he used an example of distancing language. A guy instead of Lewis Hamilton. So if you're interested about learning verbal analysis like I'm doing now, I can recommend I Know You Are Lying by Mark McLeish. He's got an online course which I'm going to be doing very soon, and that will tie into my deception work I've already done throughout the years. So, if you've got any questions or queries, please let me know. Please check out my page on Facebook. Try and share these videos as much as you can. Trying to get as much exposure as humanly possible on the internet. And any questions or queries, please let me know. So, from everyone here, as normal, at Understanding Body Language, take care and bye-bye for now.